Hello. Welcome to yet another good episode of To the Fullest, 2TF. I am your host, Ivan Mwapeva Gwada, and on today's episode, I have with me Victor Mulenga, who I know another name, but I don't know if I should mention it or not.
Okay.
Okay, I will allow him to mention it if he wants or not. If not, I'll put it in the description. Yeah, so with me is Victor Mulenga. How are you, my man?
Doing good. How are you?
No, I'm doing fine. Long time.
Amazing. Long time indeed.
Been busy.
What's trying by means to be busy?
You're up and down,
Moving up and down.
out and in the country.
We're trying to.
Carry me as well. Huh? You're leaving us.
No worry.
Hmm?
Definitely.
Yeah, you should. Just tell us what we need to get ready and we'll be there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but how is it going?
Well, bit by bit, we're building what is supposed to be built.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist in one period of time. It takes a step. So we're getting there.
You're getting
Getting
there.
there.
Well, let's just dive into the conversation because we have a lot to talk about today and a lot to learn and unlearn.
Sure.
Yeah. So who is Victor Mulenga?
Oh, okay. That question is tricky because it seems as if you know yourself, and when they ask you to say describe yourself,
You
it's
don't know
another
what
time.
to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I would say Victor Mulenga is a youth just like any other Zambian. I'm a Zambian, of course, and I'm a Pan-Africanist. I believe so much in the future of Africa. So Victor Mulenga is a boy, of course. Let me say a man. A boy will be phased out. Born.
Phased out. It's already phased out.
It's a bygone. Victor is born and rooted in Copperbelt or from Copperbelt per se. So I'm a Copperbelt citizen, of course. Yes.
You know, my thinking is Lusaka.
No. You are Kopala.
Now I believe.
Exactly. So born and rooted specifically in Kitwe as well. That is why I did my Genesis background of education up into secondary school and later on shifted to Lusaka. I'm born, I'm coming from a family of three, well, two guys and one girl, and I exist to be the last male. Yes.
At last born moto
And I would say in description, Victor is a book of many pages. And by this, I mean every chapter states a different type of topic. I'm a radiologist by profession, but again, I'm into marketing. I do commercial and corporate marketing. And running away from that, I'm an SDG advocate, Center Focus on Climate Change, which is SDG number 13. Exactly. And aside from that, I'm into TV and radio presenting as well. Partially. I feel like that's a talent that I always eyed a bit, but we'll put it there next time. So let me just say, in a nutshell, Victor is a book of many pages.
Because personally, I came to know Victor as a debater.
Oh, okay.
I saw Victor arguing. That's when I came to this person exists.
Exactly.
Then, wow. So, Victor, how was life growing up? A child.
How was my childhood? I think I haven't had a moment to actually, look back and be, but I feel like it was an adventuresome space. I was what we call not really a black sheep of the family, but I would say the noisiest of them all. I was that child who knows to say curfew is 16, but I would dodge and go play football. And maybe if mom is not working, she'll come and pull you from your ears and just bring you back where you are. So my childhood was a bit adventuresome, I would say, and I feel like every chapter was about learning, and it was all about just understanding the system. So my childhood was adventuresome. Let me just say that. Let me not give away information.
I understand. Motto is it. That's the bones. Well, in memory from your childhood, which you like this, I wouldn't want to experience it again. Something you try so much to forget.
Okay. I feel like if there's anything even within my childhood space, I wouldn't want to actually have an encounter this time is self-doubt. I think growing up, I really had that self-doubt of like, can I do this? Can I actually go beyond this? So if I was to run away from any encounter, is to doubt myself because I believe as I've grown up and understanding the process of life and what it brings on table, I've analyzed to say the moment you start doubting yourself is the moment the game is already 2-0 and you've been scored by whatever that you're facing.
Yeah.
So I believe if there's anything that I shouldn't and wouldn't want to encounter as a now is self-doubt compared to the childhood me who was running away from public speaking and just
Yeah.
being on stage and speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of childhood, right, having that in moment you treasure most, the one that even when you're alone, people just see you smiling and like, what's going on with this child? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Aside the making noise and
Uh-huh,
being
uh-huh,
there.
uh-huh. Ish, ish. I feel like if there's anything I would love to go back to at any moment that I, value the most is that part when you're young, they'll always buy you clothes, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
you're
Especially
counting down.
Christmas.
Exactly. And this is a bygone thing. Right now, Christmas is on your budget and it's all about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So I would feel like that is the moment whenever I remember, I'll be like, ish, I would love to stay back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the gifting, of course, gifting, I would say that.
Yeah. All right. So, on today's conversation, we are talking about Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and you said specifically the thing is your focus, which is climate change. So, before we come to the climate change and what Sustainable Development Goals are, what inspired your journey? What made you decide to say, I think I want to be part of this journey, to be part of an activist or someone to preach about these SDGs?
Okay, the major thing that actually made me jump into this process is after realizing to say every problem that we face as a country or as a continent, Africa, or let me just say as a globe at large, is so much dependent on each one of us to take action.
Yeah.
And the moment I realized to say, if I'm seated back, that puzzle of the solution won't be patched up. And, that problem will be waiting for me to also gauge in and react. So the moment I analyze to see that every individual has a role to play when it comes to making sure that sustainability and development is attained, that is the very moment I said, well, let me identify my stronghold and let me jump into it. Because I believe to say that solution everyone is debating about, that discussion everyone is putting on table requires me to also have a weight, it requires me to have a voice as well. So the moment I analyze to say every problem is a personal issue, that is the moment I actually stood up and said, let me join the journey as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So is it something that was built while debating? Because I know you guys will debate. You do a lot of research. Because I would want to know how the shift went by from, you said that by profession you are a radiographer and just like, this is something very different. It's not related in any way. So did you being someone doing debates say has contributed for whatever you are doing right now?
Not really. I feel like I would say if it was in a percentage form, maybe I would say 10%, and maybe just in line, maybe with maybe Zema's organize a debate, and then you have to say, oh, this climate change.
Exactly.
But basically, this is just after me being a Zambian, of course, or an African youth, and understanding to say these are the major issues that we're facing as a country. Definitely, I'll study radiology per se, and I'll be working in that space. But the question is, what am I contributing when it comes to my social aspect of life? So after analyzing that, I feel like that is where I got the concept of it. I was like, okay, cool, I have a profession to run, but am I having a skill that I can actually apply or where I can actually invest in? So I would say debate did 10%, mostly on research. We get to research about different things and to know them. But I would say the other 90% is based on just understanding the concept of what's missing around society and how I can actually be of a contribution.
But trust me, if I've never said it before, you good.
Thank
You
you.
good.
Thank you
You
very
good.
much.
Well, talking of the elephant on the table, what are SDGs? What are sustainable development goals? I think I would love to hear the definition from Victor's point of view, not the standard we have in school.
All right, SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, per se. So for me, my simple definition of it is these are indicators of development, and these are guidelines that have been listed. So we have 17 of them, of course. So for me, I feel like this is a roadmap to development, and these are components or a set of instructions or guidelines that can actually measure development. So in simplicity, these are guidelines to attaining development, I would say.
17 of them.
Exactly. But we're not mentioning them today.
Yeah, it's like, can you name them by heart?
I'll try. One is based on no poverty, of course,
Yeah.
and then we have all of them. We have
Oh, at least I know one which is clean water.
exactly.
Yeah.
If I go back, that's SDG number 3. I don't know, but yeah, somewhere
Yeah,
there.
because I remember doing something on that
Mhm,
one
mhm,
somewhere,
mhm,
this life
mhm.
and trying to push stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so now SDG number 13,
Mhm,
climate change.
mhm.
Why climate change?
Well, that's a provoking question. Why
Yeah,
climate change?
yeah,
I believe climate change is a major pandemic that every person, I feel like most of the people have internalized that.
yeah,
Because when we talk about climate change, we're talking about the sudden change in, the weather
yeah,
patterns, and which has solid effect on how the society and everything. So climate change does tackle, if not handled very well, you find that the economical status of a country will be bad.
yeah,
So for me, why climate change is because I spotted it to be a pandemic, and
yeah,
this is something that most of the people haven't paid attention to, because climate change itself tackles or catches almost every aspect of the sustainable development goals, and we don't realize that.
yeah,
Yeah, because within the process of climate change, you find that if we're having, bad climate change in existence, you're going to find that pollution comes in, of course, and
yeah,
if we're not keeping the environment, sicknesses will rise, the economic structure will be bad because we're going to have low productive individuals,
yeah,
and we're going to find that we're not going to attain any part of the SDG if the climate itself is not well kept.
yeah,
So analyze to say it's a pandemic and it needs sensitization. And one key element was that most of the people are not well informed. They just know to say, okay, it's rain
yeah,
season, it's going to be cold season, it's going to be hot season, summer already, but they don't understand to say even the transition. And I think if we go back in Zambia, we had the space where it was supposed to be rainy season, but it's hot. It's
yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
it's supposed to
I
be
think that's last year,
exactly. Those are changing weather
2020. Yeah,
patterns, and
yeah,
you find that it even affected the agriculture part. We had low production of maize and everything like that.
yeah,
So I understood to say most of the people are not well informed about climate change, and they don't understand what this is, and they don't understand that some personal activities that we do might actually affect that.
yeah,
So after analyzing that, I thought, well, it's a pandemic and it needs a solution, and I was like, let me dive in with my abilities and capacity,
yeah,
contributors. Let me see how best I can advocate and make sure that everyone is aware and have an idea about what climate change is.
yeah.
Uh-huh,
Just to educate someone out there,
uh-huh,
when did the SDG start and where are they? And because I know this is not a permanent thing,
uh-huh,
something which is just here
uh-huh,
for some certain period.
uh-huh,
Then it's like it says when the goal is achieved,
uh-huh,
move on to the next thing.
uh-huh,
So when were these SDGs like commenced? How is
uh-huh,
it going? When it's the end? Do you
uh-huh.
feel it has achieved its goal?
Okay, so SDGs have been in existence way back.
Yeah,
I think I would, if I'm so specific, then I'm going to lie, but they've been in existence way back, and some of them even catch a vision 2030, and
yeah,
we're counting down to 5 years down the line to make sure that we attain certain SDGs.
yeah,
And they've been in existence for a long time. And if we're to say, have we attained some? I feel like that can be classified depending on from where you're coming from, and
yeah,
it depends on the country that you're coming from, of course. And as Zambia, I feel like it's a thrive, and it's actually a fight that we're still advocating for as youths. And this is something we're hoping that by 2030 we'll see, go back to the drawing board and take out to say, okay, we did this.
yeah,
But as at now, I feel like we're still thriving, and we're trying by all means to make sure that we gauge, relevant people. The UN, the United Nations, is up for it. We're seeing them coming in and helping activities that
yeah,
are aligned with SDGs.
yeah,
Just last year, 2024, we had a summit that was in New York, which brought to life what we're calling the Pact for the Future, and this is a compact which has actually, complex, and it has actually summarized the major components of the SDGs, and they have actually defined them in 5 aspects, which is youths and the next generation,
yeah,
financing,
yeah,
good governance, basic stuff like that, ending diseases. So basically, this is something that is running, but as Zambia, let me say it on a general perspective, as a Zambian citizen and as a Zambian youth, I feel like this is something we need to take serious. The action is minimal compared to the effort that is actually being brought outside within the continent. So I believe the journey is still long for the Zambian community. We need
yeah,
the government to take key, drive. We
yeah,
cannot only depend on UN to come through. UN might, implement stuff. They might give us guidelines, but it's about as a country, what are we taking in and how are we driving them? So the journey is long for Zambia, and I believe to say we have to do almost a whole lot to make sure that we attend these activities. So they started a long time ago. The status is that now we're still thriving as a nation. Do we have a future? Yes, we do have a future, but it takes, vivid action as well.
Yeah. So apart from people being notified or being told or aware of the SDGs, and you being someone who's realized the role which you have to play for this to happen, what do you think are some of the challenges that are preventing this? Like you said in Zambia and Africa and just around the world. Why is it? What are some of the challenges that are causing that these SDGs are not achieved or they are not as progressive as they're supposed to be by now?
Okay. I feel like if I'll classify them in three components. One is lack of information. I feel like most of the people are not even aware. If you go maybe deep in the village setups of Zambia and say what are SDGs, they'll be like, is it a plate of food? What is it? You get what I mean? So I feel like in terms of information, most of the people do not have information, and a person who's not informed is at risk of actually not practicing the right way. Definitely. The other aspect, the reason to why we're not really running fast in terms of achieving them, I feel like that is where the government input comes through as well. I feel like there's a bit of I won't really say laziness per se, but there's a part where the government should take more key interest in this in order for them to be achieved. And I feel like we need more youths on board. I feel like this is something that is for the future, and anything that involves the future involves with the youth. So I feel like each and every youth should stand up and make sure that they join the race. Advocate, at least for one, if you can't do both, at least make sure that we attain every aspect. Because you find that mostly with the youths are advocating about SDG number 4, which is based on education. And this shouldn't be the thing, you get what I mean? And if you go to the landscape of Zambia, you find that we're even calling Olivia as the SDG girl. Reason being, she's like the top-notch person talking about SDGs. But what about you? What about me? What about others? What are we doing? So I feel like lack of information, the government policies as well. This is where the government should come in with stiff policies that will guide us. And apart from that, we need youth participation as well.
Do we have SDGs in our education curriculum in Zambia?
Yeah, we have. So as a nation, we're running based on SDG number 4, which is quality education, providing quality education. Under the education system, I believe there is no specific subject that will educate us to say it's about SDGs and
maybe like civic education, and
yeah.
then like the way we learn about the laws, like this is just this topic today we start learning about SDGs. Do we have such?
No, not yet. This hasn't been introduced in the Zambian system, and I feel like if introduced, it's going to create much noise.
But is this something we can expect?
I feel like I feel like there's nothing that is impossible when we advocate for it. This is why we see it as youths, the policymakers, the government states. Let's sit together and analyze how best we can attend this. So if the best way is to make sure that we implement this even in the education system, then let's do that. It's all about agreeing on one thing and working around it.
Well, so you know, most when you look at this work, when you're trying to push for an agenda, it always calls out for something for it to be achieved. So if I want to say, okay, I'm a Zambian citizen. I need to speak for my people. I need to speak for my land. Let's say I say, okay, I think like you, I'm going to go for SDG number 14. I want to talk about climate change. What do I need for me to just for my head to be, for my voice to be heard? What do I need to prepare? What do I need to get ready? What things that I should know, apart from, of course, I know information, because me as the person talking about that, I have to be well informed. But away from all those other things, what things should I consider before I take up a stand? Sorry.
Well, it's not about your race. I feel like the major thing you should have is something that I've mentioned already, information. I believe that a person who's informed, like I said, will know the risks and the what is. And if you're standing out to advocate for something, you should know it more. So I feel like the only thing you need is vital information in line with what you're advocating for. Make sure that you analyze what you're talking about. Make sure that you know the negatives and the positives. So that as you start advocating, even if someone was to pose a question to say, what is the negative aspect or the positive aspect of what you're talking about, you're able to give feedback. Aside from that, it's just your action as well. So you have the information. Now, are you going to act upon the information, or you keep them inside until you wait for your platform? Believe me, you platforms right now, or as at now in this society, you have to make sure that you push your way to the platform.
Yeah.
The platform will never follow you. So make sure that you strategically put yourself in the spot where these platforms will be in.
To
So
see you.
exactly. And we're talking about the digital modern world. So once you have the information, you have Facebook waiting for you. You have WhatsApp, you have Instagram. So use the platforms that are there to voice out and make sure that the information is clear. So I feel like the most vital thing you need is yourself and the information. Mhm,
So apart from the challenges that surrounding SDG as a whole, and everybody trying to
mhm,
advocate about them, but you as Victor and
mhm,
being an advocate for SDG number 13,
mhm.
yeah, so what are some of the challenges which you have faced as a person trying to reach this information to the world or to the nation?
Okay. So, understanding the concept to say you might have the information and you might have the platform to voice out, but it calls for different, aspects of society to come in and support your vision, of course. So, what is missing? Probably you find that there's a funding aspect, and you find that most of the works that I personally do are self-funded. I'm going to voice out using my own badges or my own data. I'm going to do community reach outs using my own efforts as well. So, but if I want to go beyond and above, then funding is required for. So you find that in most cases, funding is not only in terms of money, but more labor. Like, let's say I find another person who's into climate change,
Yeah,
work together like that.
yeah,
So basically, you find that finding the same people that are within the common goal is a bit problematic. And if we're talking about going far, there are areas that I can reach, and there are areas that I need another person
yeah,
to run together with. So I feel like finding people with the common goal, definitely funding, because there are certain projects that require you to spend a lot in order for you to use result, of course.
yeah,
And when we talk about climate change, of course, you require spaces where you have to do maybe community cleanups, of course, in order for you to maintain a standard of hygiene, of course. And in that line, I need proper funding. If I'm going to put people on board, we need
yeah,
safety gadgets to make
yeah,
sure that as we're doing that. So probably that activity and the willingness, of course, we have few people that are really willing to just come on board for free. You find that you say, okay, so guys, we're doing an outreach here, we're doing this. The next question will be like, how much am I receiving at the end of it all? So most of the challenges are the willingness from people as well to just join on board, not knowing to say this is something that affects everyone. It might not affect you, but it can affect your next uprising son or maybe even your child.
yeah,
And this is the part where we all come together. So problems are like that: willingness, funding, and just finding the same people with a common goal to run.
yeah.
Mhm,
All right, so just for fun of it, I don't
mhm,
mean this happens or it's going to happen to you.
mhm,
So imagine that you find yourself advocating for climate change
mhm,
and your heart, upon your heart to feel it, I think let me go to maybe this certain village setup.
mhm, mhm,
Then you go there, you find us villagers
mhm,
cutting trees because
mhm,
that's our way of surviving.
mhm,
Cutting trees, making charcoal, then taking them into town
mhm,
or anything.
mhm,
In that situation, how do you reach those people? Because that's their way of survival. So that you don't
mhm.
provoke them.
Mhm. Oh, it's a that is what we call smart sensitization,
Yeah,
where you find that the people are practicing what you are against.
yeah,
It's more than I'm talking about do not smoke, and then you go in a gangster of
yeah, yeah,
individuals who smoke, of
yeah,
course,
yeah,
and I shouldn't just go there to say do not smoke. So what am I going to do in such a situation? Well, probably that situation is about to happen, and it will happen definitely.
yeah,
But one thing you have to understand is that first of all. Uh, Appreciate what they are doing in terms of survival, but tell them the other side effect of it. So
yeah,
the truth should be told, but we can tell them to say if you want to practice deforestation, venture into afforestation as well. So you
yeah,
cut down trees, but let's make sure that we replace. So you remove and replace. That's the way we can solve. Because we're talking about load shedding here, and just shortages of bad, and charcoal is one of our alternative solutions. But we
exactly.
have people that are promoting green, green
Yeah,
ideas,
yeah,
where you find that there are other sustainable ways of actually doing some other stuff in order to run away from climate change and its, negative side effect. So I believe, first of all, you address the matter as it is and make them understand and give them the would-be solutions. Because I feel like as you are criticizing, give solutions to how they can survive there. So tell them to say, if you want to cut down trees, make sure that you also join into afforestation. So
yeah,
as you cut, so that you can give a space for other trees to also rise. You get what I mean?
yeah,
And let's be strict on how we cut trees. Let's not cut everywhere. There are spaces you can remove and the spaces where you can just leave them go like
yeah,
that. So basic mini information like that is what can actually make we the people that are advocating and the people that are actually doing certain practices to
yeah.
understand and come to an agreement.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we come to a closing.
Mm-hmm.
Have this question.
Okay.
If right now
Mm-hmm.
you was to meet the 7-year-old Victor,
Mm-hmm.
what advice would you give him?
Oh wow. What advice can I give? I'll be like, ish. I would say it is worth it.
Yeah,
Whatever that 7-year-old boy Victor was facing by then was worth it.
yeah,
The criticism was worth it. The background was worth it
yeah,
because I feel like the environment shaped him. You get what I mean?
yeah,
So I would say it was worth it, and I would really advise the 7-year-old me to continue pushing.
yeah,
And if anything, just like writing about Mr. Zimba, I would advise him to push harder. You get what I mean? I would say go harder with life and
yeah,
make sure that
yeah,
you just run the
yeah,
system.
yeah,
But I would definitely say it's worth it, and just to keep up smiling, I
yeah,
would say
yeah.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
And now, after meeting the 7-year-old, in
mm,
the next room now you find the 40-year-old Victor.
mm.
What do you think he will say to you right now?
We said to me.
Yeah,
Okay, I would definitely believe to say a 40-year-old me, according to my picture, would be someone who's already there. I would
yeah,
say they have run the race and they have actually done their part.
yeah,
So I would really think the advice they can give me is that continue fighting.
yeah,
It might seem impossible, but it's very possible.
yeah,
Today might be a bit goofy and not really aligned, but
yeah,
tomorrow is actually better.
yeah,
And definitely, I think the other advice that the 40-year-old me can give me is that just
yeah,
continue pushing boundaries, and don't forget to put up a smile and make connections. I
yeah.
would say so.
You don't think he would slap you, say, my G, told you to take that path.
I'm pretty much, I was like, no, I think he might call me stubborn, but wait it again.
Yeah, yeah,
I think he'll call me stubborn, but he
yeah,
will say, well, you were stubborn in your own way and you believed it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Victor, I think
Mhm.
it's a lot to talk about, but
Definitely.
we can't exhaust everything on
Sure.
one day.
Mhm.
I think this is how far we could go today, and this is what we
Mhm.
had for you. These are the questions we had for you. This is what we wanted to learn from you.
Sure.
I hope or we hope people have learned something, your audience have learned something,
Sure.
and we hope this your message reach out to
Mhm.
relevant people who might
Mhm.
come in,
Mhm.
support your goal and support what you're doing. Yeah, and
Definitely.
we are willing as part to play along
Mhm.
wherever we can. We are
Sure.
here to support you.
Definitely.
Yeah, so maybe in conclusion, what are your last words to people follow your work and
Mhm.
just a young person out there trying to find themselves?
All right, I'll still use the same words I usually use, and this is just to every African youth. We are worth the price.
Yeah,
We are the most expensive treasures that have ever existed as youths. And one thing we have to do is that we shouldn't put self doubt in front. We
yeah,
can attain every goal, but all that we need is discipline and make sure that we thrive extra and just make sure that we attain what we dream of.
yeah,
Society has a lot of gifts to give us, but let's just be selective with which gift we're going to pick out to run the rest. But
yeah,
above it all, we are worth the price.
yeah. So
Definitely.
if you was to become a president for one day in Zambia, just one thing, what would you change? Just one thing.
One thing.
One. Just for 24 hours. You only have one decision to make.
Mhm, mhm.
And that decision is permanent. What will that be?
One thing I can change.
Yeah.
Definitely, my investment will be so much in education. I would make sure that even a poor child in the village setup is able to access quality education because, just like it has been said, education is the best equalizer, despite of where you're coming from. So, if I was to be the president for one day, education will be my top-notch priority.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know what we call that here?
Mhm.
Confidence. No,
No,
that's it.
that's it.
That's all you need. All you need is the confidence and the
Mhm.
audacity to do it, and the
Jackpot.
world is under your feet.
Exactly.
Well, Victor, this has been funny, has
Mhm,
been insightful.
mhm,
I've learned so much. I hope people have learned as well.
mhm.
So until next time, all the best in everything you are doing. We
Thank
can't
you.
wait to see you at the top. We can't
Thank you
wait to
very
see
much.
you doing this in Parliament and these other
Definitely.
places.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. On today's episode at Victor Mulenga, aka doesn't want to mention it. And on today's episode, we're talking about Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Hopefully, you've learned something. I have been your host, Ivan Mapeva Gwada. Until next time, bye bye.